So American Thanksgiving is next week. And every year I try and make my great grandmother's rolls, her dinner rolls. She used to make literally thousands of them. She would make gigantic batches to give to the ladies' auxiliary for them to sell. Every single holiday, they were always there. Just really simple, delicious dinner rolls. And my mom gave me the recipe. Oh gosh, probably back when I, you know, graduated college. And every year I try and make them from the recipe to get it right. And every year it's different. And my great grandmother passed away, I think, when I was 9 or 10. And my husband is learning what they're supposed to taste like. My family knows what they're supposed to taste like, but really I'm the only one every year that knows what they're supposed to taste like, what the texture is supposed to be. So the interesting thing about this is my great grandmother was blind, and she did all of her recipes by feel. And obviously you're going to have little differences with baking depending on humidity and ingredients and all those sorts of things. And so I think it's a fantastic analogy for working with postpartum women. The questions that I get all the time are, what about this program? Should I do this? How can I prevent this? And what women are looking for is they're looking for the recipe. If I do X, then I will have Y outcome. So if I give you the recipe for my great grandmother's rolls, they should turn out exactly the same, right? I've got about 18 years of working on this recipe a couple times every year. And it's still not quite right, because here's the thing. There's always, it depends. It depends on if I'm rushed when I'm baking. And again, don't forget that the recipe isn't exactly what she did, because it was all on feel. That's just what she told my mom and dad to write down that she kind of thought it was. And so I think when we talk about postpartum rehab, I think if we go in looking for a framework as opposed to a recipe, if we go in with the idea that here's where we're going to start with the basic ingredients, and we might have to do a little more of this and a little less of that, and feel comfortable playing depending on what we feel, what the environment is, what the circumstances are. I think the more comfortable we get, not only as providers, but as moms looking for care, instead of looking for a rigid structure, a XYZ that works for everybody, because it doesn't. And we look for a framework that allows us to have variations based on the bodies that we walked into pregnancy with, our genetics, our what our nutrition is, what our sleep is, what our environment is like, socioeconomic status, cognitive status. Like, there's so many variables before we even get to pregnancy and delivery. And then what that delivery look like, and then what do your postpartum resources look like on the other side, and then what do you actually want to do? Do you just want to be able to walk community distances, or do you want to be able to run 90 miles a week? And I think there's so many little nuances that having a framework allows you to have a general thread through the whole thing. Like, we know we're making rolls, right? We know we're getting back to certain things, but it allows some opportunity for variability. If the recipe was the way to go, then what my mom gave me should have worked every single time, and it doesn't. It really doesn't. And so, because she took it by feel, she did, and it's so simple too. It's literally like, and I'm not giving any family secrets here either. It's literally like flour, maybe milk, maybe a little oil, and like yeast. Like, honestly, salt. It's the most basic thing in the world, and it has to rise a bunch of times. But like, there's so many opportunities to tweak things and all of that. And I think the sooner we accept that a framework allows us the ability to be flexible with our rehabilitation, not only as providers, but allows moms to have differences. Like, I have yet to see or expect anyone to have a rehab like mine because, there's no one like me. There's no one like you. But that said, we can have things that help us develop patterns that we can predict generally, but allow for some variances. So basically what I'm trying to say is I'm still working on the rolls recipe. However, when you're looking at rehabbing back after delivery, I think a framework is far less stringent, but allows for flexibility, and it allows for us to have hope in areas where we just don't know enough yet. So why not try? We don't have to be rigid. There's nothing in the research that says if you don't do it this way, you're going to be a hot mess. Let's be a little more flexible with our moms. Let's allow some teamwork, some problem solving, some collaboration around this framework. And then let's see where we get. I'm kind of excited about that. I had a great chat with Dr. Shivali Christopher, who's a researcher at Elon University today. I'll be posting that interview shortly. And we talked a lot about what we have to learn. And something she brought up was not every mom is going to have issues. And that's great. And if we could reduce even the ones that we can prevent, let's do that too. So I hope you're hungry now. If you have questions, as always, about anything postpartum, a pregnancy postpartum, exercise, HIIT, CrossFit, return to run, always hit me up in the DMs. I'm always the one that answers my DMs. So I've had so many people say they're surprised that I wrote back, or I usually do the audio back. I will write you back. I will send you a message back. I'm happy to help you find resources in your area. So anyway, happy Thanksgiving next week. I guess we have a week to go. Happy shopping and happy Monday.